Hey guys, I am Dempsey from the Omnic Post. Usually I'm here to talk to you guys about the latest Overwatch news, but this video is a little different. In this new series of videos, I want to dive into Overwatch lore. I love lore. In any game, lore was actually one of the reasons that I started playing Overwatch. I hadn't been playing a lot of shooters before that, but the art style and the fact that it is a Blizzard game drew me in, because I knew Blizzard liked to do things differently, and that all of their games have a story. And sure, we haven't always seen that come true in the actual game, not as much as we would like at least. But there definitely have been attempts, some more successful than others, to share stories with us. Because that story is there, somewhere in a series of files on the Blizzard campus. There is way more than we have seen up till now. And hopefully, with PvE being such a big thing in Overwatch 2, we'll get to learn more about it. But since Overwatch 2 is still not here, I wanted to look back at what we do know, what is out there, in the game, in the comics, in the short stories, and try and share that with you guys. These videos will be about people, locations, events, all of it. And most importantly, what they're going to do with it in Overwatch 2. Let's dig in. In this first episode, I'm starting with something slightly unusual. Talon. I actually wanted to start with Reapers since we recently got the Code of Violence event. But Talon is such an important part of his story, and a part we actually don't get a lot of info on in the game. So I figured it would make more sense to start with his employer, rather than with the man or former man himself. Now, we all know Talon to be one of the counterparts of Overwatch, the bad guys. In 2 out of the 3 Archives missions, we actually fight Talon, Retribution and Storm Rising. Both are pivotal moments in the organization's timeline. But I'll get to that in a minute. Let's start at the beginning. That being said, little is known about the first years of Talon. According to most sources, the organization started right after the first Omnic crisis. The Omnic crisis is referred to a lot, both in the game and in the stories, as it was an important conflict. It was a global conflict, a world war that was fought between humanity and the Omnics. This all happened about 25 to 30 years before the time the game is set in. I'll do a separate video about that at a later point. During the Omnic crisis, the UN assembled a team of heroes called Overwatch. These heroes managed to take out the Omnic command and control protocols. Peace accords were signed with remaining Omnics, and the war was over. In the chaotic aftermath, mercenaries were hired to round up former Omnic weapons, like the Bastion units, and to do security missions, some search and rescue. These mercenaries had a good thing going. You can imagine that this post-war chaos made them not only rich, but also influential, powerful even. A group of these mercenaries that operated in Western Europe got organized and founded Talon. Their goal was to feed the chaos in hopes of keeping their business going. They were both the illness and the cure. Their philosophy was, and still is, that they want to strengthen humanity through conflict. But the organization's objective fluctuated over the years, and most members joined to line their pockets, especially under the original leadership. Overwatch caught on to Talon's scheme and started carrying out operations against the organization, under the lead of Gérard Lacroix. Now, that name might ring a bell. That's because Widowmaker's real name is Amélie Lacroix. Gérard actually was her husband. Gérard had been working on a dossier on Talon, and their then leader Antonio Bartolotti, his illegal activities, associates, and his involvement in an earlier attack on the Oslo headquarters, which cost the lives of a lot of Overwatch agents. Antonio did not appreciate Gérard and Overwatch meddling in his business, so he struck back. Gérard Lacroix had a meeting with 2 Blackwatch members in their Rome offices, Cassidy, who went under the name McCree back then, and Gabriel Reyes, who we know as Reaper. Reyes and Lacroix have history. It seems Lacroix saved Reyes' life in a mission a few years ago. Blackwatch was a special operations unit within Overwatch. They operated under the radar, in the gray zone, where Overwatch agents could not be involved. Both Cassidy and Reyes were dead set on striking at Antonio, as they knew where he was hiding, and Lacroix did have enough evidence to take him in. But according to Lacroix, Antonio had some high-level friends, and he would be out of prison almost immediately. He suggested hitting Antonio where it hurts, by going after his and his associates' money. As Reyes and Cassidy left the headquarters, a bomb went off, leveling the offices in Rome. Gérard Lacroix survived, but just barely. He was patched up by Dr. Ziegler and made a full recovery, for now. Reyes was furious about the attempt on his friend's life, and he launched an unsanctioned mission to bring Antonio in. If you played the Retribution's Archives mission, you know how this ends. Reyes ends up killing Antonio, and Talon is without a leader. Back then, Talon was already overseen by a council, so the power vacuum was quickly filled. One of the Talon mercenaries at that point was Akenyidi Adeyemi, known back then as the Second Doomfist, the Scourge of Numbani. He had introduced his pupil, Akandi Agondimo, to Talon right before Antonio was killed. Now with Antonio gone, Akande had his own ideas and his own ambitions, which did not match with those of his master. So Akande killed his master and stole his Doomfist title and gauntlet. The Talon Council let it happen, since Akande's philosophy of social Darwinism matched really well with Talon's objectives. The new Doomfist quickly climbed the ranks within the organization and ended up becoming their de facto leader. Under Doomfist's leadership, Talon really embraced their core philosophy in favor of the financial gains, something that did not sit well with some of the other council members. Now, Overwatch did not sit still while all of this was happening. While Doomfist was in a secret meeting with the Null Sector leader in Cairo, an Overwatch strike force consisting of agents Winston, Tracer, Genji, and Mercy targeted the talent accountant, Maximilian, who was in Havana. They cornered him, and in exchange for immunity and anonymity, Maximilian told the Overwatch operatives that Doomfist would be in Singapore 3 weeks later. That's where the Overwatch team caught up with Doomfist, and after a fierce battle, Winston was able to take out the Talon leader, who ended up in a Helix maximum security prison. During his incarceration, Doomfist kept tabs on everything that happened with Talon. He also managed to get in the head of Blackwatch leader Gabriel Reyes, and even ends up recruiting him while in prison. Now, while Doomfist was still running some of his business out of prison, the new leader at that point was Viali, a known associate of Antonio. Viali was, just as his former boss, focused a little more on the money side of their business. He used his position as the new leader to steer Talon into a new direction. Under this new leadership, they finally managed to kill Gerard Lacroix by abducting his wife, reconditioning her, and having her kill him in his sleep. Shortly after that, Overwatch was disbanded, allowing Talon to increase its strength. They set up multiple missions, gaining more money, more power, more influence, and important intel on former Overwatch agents. Gerard Lacroix's wife took on the name Widowmaker and managed to kill the Shambari leader Mondata in King's Row. Viali, on his part, ordered a failed attempt to kill Katya Volskaya, Volskaya Industries CEO, because she did not cooperate with his plans. Viali was slowly turning Talon into some kind of mafia organization, until Doomfist staged a prison break with the help of Gabriel Reyes, who went under the name Reaper by then. Now, while Doomfist did compliment Widowmaker with the assassination of Mondata, he did not agree with the direction that Viali was taking Talon, and Viali knew that. So as soon as Doomfist was out, Viali sent a team to kill the former Talon leader in Monaco. The assassination attempt failed, and Doomfist, Reaper, Sombra, and Widowmaker headed to Venice, where the council was meeting. Doomfist met up with Viali and threw him off a roof, killing him, and took back control over Talon. He refocused all their efforts on starting a war between humans and Omnics. And that is where we are right now. In the New Blood comics, we can see that Doomfist is extremely successful in his attempts. His troops are reaping havoc on a global scale, and they clearly are still hunting former Overwatch agents. All this while the world is at the brink of a new Omnic crisis. Both in the Overwatch 2 trailer and the last chapter of the comic series, we see Null Sector attacking capital cities. So what will Talon's role be in Overwatch 2? While Null Sector and Guinxing are front and center and fighting at the front lines, Doomfist and his troops are the architects of all the mayhem we'll slowly see unfold over the next few years. Doomfist is getting exactly what he had hoped for. It is unclear if he took the Overwatch recall into account. I would think he did. Otherwise, he wouldn't have tried to kill as many agents as possible before he executed his plans. But he might have underestimated humanity. The fact that there is a whole new generation of agents that are ready to take on the challenge. That being said, he'll just continue as planned. He'll stay on this course till his last breath, whenever that comes. Something I don't think all of his companions are willing to do. Currently, his council is made up out of 15 members, 5 of which we know. Doomfist himself, Reaper, Moira, Maximilian, and Sanjay Korpal, a Helix double agent, which also explains why Doomfist escaped so easily. I'm curious to see how Reaper's character will evolve and how much of Gabriel is still in there. How Sombra, who is clearly in this for her own reasons, will end up impacting Doomfist's plans. See, they think they know all of her schemes, but that is a smart and cunning lady. Underestimating her might be a mistake. Other than that, there will be plenty of occasions where we'll be fighting Talon troops, and we'll most definitely see more Talon soldiers join the PvP roster. Maga, for instance. But I wouldn't mind seeing Maximilian join in on a PvP match. We'll see. I hope the writer team at Blizzard makes Talon into something more than a group of bad guys, and that they set us up with storylines that will surprise us. I can't wait. But that was it for this lore video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe you have something to add to this story, or you have a different source with some extra insights. Maybe you have an opinion on how this all could evolve in Overwatch 2. I look forward to reading all of it. But for now, that was it. I'll try and do one of these lore videos each month, and I'll be back soon with another news update and a weekly recap. Till then, take care, bye bye.